James Wilson spoke 168 times at the Constitutional Convention. Second only to James Madison, he shaped the presidency, the judiciary, and the entire idea of popular sovereignty. So why have most Americans never heard of him? Spoiler, it involves debt collectors. James Wilson was born in Scotland in 1742 and immigrated to America in 1765. He became a lawyer and legal scholar. He signed the Declaration of Independence, and he had a deep knowledge of law and philosophy that he brought to every debate. He also taught the first law lectures in America. So yeah, this guy was smart, like intimidatingly smart. Wilson believed the Constitution's authority came from the people, not the states, not the government, the people. We the people wasn't just a catchy opening line. It reflected Wilson's core philosophy. Government gets its power from the consent of the governed. This was a revolutionary idea. Most governments at the time claimed authority from tradition, religion, or conquest. Wilson said, nope, it comes from us. Now, when Wilson talked about the people, he wasn't proposing pure democracy. And there's a difference. In a pure democracy, every citizen votes on every decision, every law, every policy, every little detail. Think ancient Athens, everyone gathered to debate and vote directly on everything. Sounds great, right? Except it doesn't scale. It works for a few thousand people in one city. It falls apart when you have millions spread across a continent. Plus, pure democracy has a dark side. Majority rule can become majority tyranny. If 51% vote to take away rights from the other 49%, that's technically democratic. But it's not fair. That's why the founders created a representative democratic republic. We vote for people who vote on laws for us. The republic part means we have a constitution that protects certain rights, even from the majority. Your rights don't disappear just because 51% of people don't like you. Wilson wanted more direct democracy than most founders. But even he understood that pure democracy wasn't practical for a country this size. Wilson wanted the president elected directly by the people. He lost that fight. We got the Electoral College instead. He also wanted senators elected by the people. Lost that one too. States appointed senators until 1913. Wilson's vision was maximum democracy within a Republican framework. Other founders thought that was way too risky. They were scared people would make bad choices. The founders built in layers of protection. We elect representatives instead of voting directly on everything. The Senate originally represented states, not just population. We got an electoral college instead of direct presidential election. We have a Bill of Rights that protects minorities from the majority. We have separation of powers so no one group gets too much control. Wilson pushed against some of these protections. He trusted the people more than most of his fellow founders did. Look, I know the Electoral College gets a lot of hate, and Wilson himself would probably agree with some of the criticism. Remember, it wasn't his first choice. But here's the thing, it solved a real problem. In 1787, the country was huge. Communication was slow. Most people had no way of knowing anything about candidates from other states. A farmer in Georgia had no clue who the popular governor of Massachusetts was. A direct popular vote would have meant only the most famous people, or people from the biggest states, would ever win. The Electoral College forced candidates to care about smaller states. It created a federal system where states matter, not just population centers. Wilson understood this. He didn't love the compromise, but he saw why it was necessary. Here's what the Electoral College does well. It prevents a handful of big cities from dominating every election. It makes sure presidential candidates have to build broad coalitions across different regions. It protects the federal nature of our system. We're a union of states, not just one big democracy. Without it, candidates would only campaign in New York, California, Texas, and Florida. Everyone else, ignored. Is the Electoral College perfect? No. Wilson knew that in 1787. But it was the best compromise between pure democracy and state representation. Wilson himself proposed the Electoral College as this middle ground solution. It wasn't his preferred system, but it was better than having Congress choose the president, which was the other option on the table. Electors would be chosen by states. Each state could decide how to pick them. It was a compromise between direct election and legislative selection. Not perfect, but it worked. And compromises, even imperfect ones, are how you build something that lasts 200 plus years. Wilson's genius wasn't just in his ideals. It was in knowing when to accept a good enough solution that everyone could live with. That's harder than it sounds, and honestly, we could use more of that thinking today. Wilson argued that the president should appoint judges with Senate consent. He won that argument. This created a system of checks. The president chooses, but the Senate confirms. In 1789, George Washington appointed Wilson to the Supreme Court. He served until 1798, so he didn't just design the system, he participated in it. James Wilson died in 1798. He was fleeing debt collectors. His financial scandal buried his reputation. But here's the myth. The founders all feared democracy. Reality? Wilson shows that democratic impulses were strong from the beginning. His vision was partially realized in 1913 with the 17th Amendment, which gave us direct election of senators. His legal philosophy still influences constitutional interpretation today. He was the most democratic founder and the least remembered. That should tell you something about who writes history. The key takeaway? The difference between a pure democracy and our representative democratic republic isn't about trusting people less. It's about building a system that protects individual rights while still giving people a voice. Wilson pushed that balance toward more popular control. And even though he didn't win every fight, his ideas kept pushing America closer to the democratic ideals he believed in. Sometimes the person who loses the argument still wins in the long run.